Dr. Mwinyi acknowledges Tanzania-Swiss ties.
Cooperation that we've had so far, including the Basel Institute.
Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TVC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TVC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has called on the residents of the Songwe region to join health insurance schemes as part of the country's efforts to improve the health sector. President Samia made the call in Mlowo on her way to the Songwe airport after finishing her visit to the Rukwa region, insisting that for the increased number of health centers, it is important for the people to join the health insurance schemes.
Now there's hospitals from the district level to referral level in the regions are modern hospitals and have modern equipment. They are hospitals that we have built at a greater cost in order to help Tanzanians who have to go abroad for treatment. Unless the problem is too complicated to be treated here in the country. But these treatments can be expensive, so we must improve the health services and health insurances so that farmers can have access to health services.
Some of the government leaders in the region are delighted with the work done by President Samia, specifically the development projects in the Songwe region.
In this area of health, within these 3 years, the President has brought 28 billion to improve health services.
This crowd that you see here did not come because they do not know you, but they came here because of the great work you have done in Songwe region. Since independence, there are some things that we have not been able to achieve, but for the first time, we have been able to get a district hospital.
On the health side, here in Tunduma, we used to have one health center, but now you have given us 5 health centers.
The President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, has acknowledged support extended by the government of Switzerland in supporting Zanzibar, especially in the health sector, economic empowerment and good governance. Dr. Mwinyi made the remarks when he met and held talks with the Swiss ambassador to Tanzania, Didier Chassat, in the State House in Zanzibar, who paid the visit to bid farewell after completing his 4-year tenure of service in the country.
Other areas of cooperation that we've had so far, including the Basel Institute, for the overall governance is very important for us. And I know ZAICA, Department of Public Prosecutor, Attorney General's Office, and even the police force, a lot of capacity building has been done, and also they've been given the tools to make sure that they work properly. And this is quite important aspect, and we hope that this cooperation, this trilateral cooperation, will continue in the future.
On the other hand, Ambassador Chassat has expressed his optimism on free and fair elections in the next year's general election.
Looking forward to and trying to dynamize our relations and to see how best this potential that there is here in Tanzania and in Zanzibar in particular can be an opportunity for Swiss companies to invest in the country, to bring their particular know-how in agriculture, tourism. There are many things that Swiss companies know how to do. So we are working towards this. Things are moving forward slowly but surely, and I truly hope that in the coming years we can see the full results of this particular engagement.
Small and medium-sized entrepreneurs in the country are urged to maximize on various trainings provided by the experts of the National Quality Association of Tanzania so as to gain a broader understanding of quality and penetrate more in the international market. The call has been made by the chairman of the National Quality Association, Amir Hamza, after the opening of a one-day training for small-scale entrepreneurs with the aim of building their capacity and producing quality products that meet the international market.
Tanzanians, the small-scale and medium-scale enterprises have to realize that now it's time to gear up and produce better quality goods at affordable prices which the consumer can afford, and you can be able to compete in the international market against anybody bringing in goods from anywhere in the world. I'll give you an example of coffee. That coffee is produced in Tanzania, and coffee is also produced in Vietnam. It is produced in Brazil. It is produced in India, and it is also value-added in European Union and again brought back to our countries.
On the other hand, the chief executive of CAPS Limited, Peter Mariale, says in order to reach the international market, they must be better acquainted with the market, while one of the entrepreneurs who participated in the training expresses her optimism upon completion of the training.
But if they are not to the standard that they cannot meet the customer satisfaction, definitely you are not going to penetrate into the market. How are you going to do it? You have to collaborate with your customers, you have to know the customer needs, and you have to know exactly what you're going to produce.
We lack this awareness on how to be consistent on producing quality products. So by this program, I think we are going to increase our quality in products and ensure markets inside and outside the country.
The training was conducted at Ardhi University in Dar es Salaam and was attended by entrepreneurs from various organizations. In other news, the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy, Dr. James Matarajio, says the newly established triangular cooperation between Tanzania, USA, and India on clean and renewable energy has initiated new interventions to enhance energy access, security control, and operation system for local engineers. Speaking at the launch of the triangular cooperation between US, India, and Tanzania in Dar es Salaam, Matarajio insists that the initiative will significantly boost the energy sector by employing modern technology.
The triangular cooperation between USA, India, and Tanzania on clean and renewable energy has initiated a new interventions to enhance energy access, security, control, and the operation system for our local engineers. This initiative will significantly boost the energy sector by employing modern technology in future planning. Such collaborative efforts are vital in addressing the energy challenges faced by our nation. By leveraging the expertise and the resources from international partners, we are poised to make a significant strides in sustainable energy development.
Through this partnership, we aim to leverage India's extensive experience and expertise in the field, including grid management. India has become a global leader in solar and wind power, more than doubling its renewable energy capacity to 195 gigawatt in the last decade, as Mission Director was also mentioning. Key institutions like Grid Controller of India and various centers of excellence have played important roles in this progress, and they are on track to bolster India's target of achieving 500 gigawatt renewable energy capacity by 2030.
First and foremost, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. James Peter Matarajio, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy, for his inspiring words and his unwavering commitments to advancing renewable energy initiatives in Tanzania. Our sincere thanks go to Sir Mr. Manoj Verma, Charge d'Affaires, Indian High Commission, to Tanzania for his valuable insights for reinforcing strong bond between India and Tanzania in this collaborative endeavor.
The Vice President of Tanzania Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, TCCIA, Boniface Ndego, says his chamber will continue to create more opportunities for investors and businessmen in improving Tanzania's economy. He made the remarks during the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between Tanzania and Poland, which focuses on matters related to investment and business opportunities between the two countries.
It has been a good moment that we were meeting our friends from Poland, and we had the president from the Chamber of Commerce of Poland and his delegation to sign the Memorandum of Understanding so that the two parties can collaborate and cooperate to strengthen the businesses between the two countries, but also for the betterment of our countries. We have heard that Poland is very good in agriculture technology, very good in pharmaceutical industries, education industries. But you know, Tanzania, we are very resourceful and very rich in also agricultural land and resources, but also in mining sector. But as you know, our population also is mainly the youth population, which need some innovations in support, technological support to go into various business clusters so that they can create big companies for the betterment of their life, but also for the contribution of the national economy.
On the other hand, the head of unit and minister, Councillor Katarzyna Sobieka, says that the Memorandum of Understanding will be a great stimulus for business growth, especially for local businessmen who are living in Tanzania.
To witness the signing of cooperation agreements between the Polish and Tanzanian respective national and regional commerce chambers. And of course, we really welcome the intention letters that are to be exchanged today, hopefully, and that will surely advance Polish-Tanzanian intercity cooperation, but also the one between our medical and educational facilities.
Minister for Community Development, Gender, Women and Special Groups, Dr. Dorothy Gwajima, says that the government will maximize on the social welfare to raise awareness in the public on violence against women in various areas of the country. She made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during the launch of Rapport's book named Women on Women Violence, which portrays tensions between socio-cultural norms that underscore harmful traditional practices and human rights discourses and practices in Africa, and more, in particular in Tanzanian context.
Women are becoming more violent towards one another, which is reversing the advance made in the struggle for women. As a result, women are experiencing difficulties and disabilities. So the ministry is pleased with the research, and we will use this book to distribute the knowledge to the community in order to liberate women economically and intellectually.
On the other hand, the Executive Director of Research for Poverty Alleviation, Rapport, Dr. Donald Mari, says the harmful traditional practices portrayed in the book includes female genital mutilation, widow inheritance, and widow cleansing rituals, and the Nyumba Ntobo, which are traditional Kwira marriages that are secured through the payment of a bride price in the form of cattle that are highly practiced in the lake zones.
The book has made a lot of recommendations, some of which are related to strengthening policies and legislation so that they can ban some of these practices. But more important is to sensitize the communities on the consequences of such practices so that the community themselves can begin to transform.
Because when you hear of violence against women, normally you look at the man, what the man does to the woman. But in this case, I have come to realize that if we want violence against women to cease, then the woman too has to see her role in promoting the violence against her. Why am I saying that? The kind of things we do to each other perpetuate it. we do things to please the patriarchal system, but by doing that, we infringe on the rights of other women.
The acting director of academics from the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, DIT, Dr. Petro Tesha, says they will continue to improve the curricula and training so that to meet the needs of the market, but also empower young people to be self-employed after the completion of their education and ultimately reduce the unemployment challenges in the country. He made the remarks during a workshop which was held in Dar es Salaam.
We are emphasizing on the hands-on experience and then skill, because we know that at the end of the day after the graduation, what the employer needs, they need people who can deliver. So during the process, also we ensure that we attach our students to the industries. We have the study visit, we are doing the learning process, our students, they have to the industry, so that they can gain relevance, hands-on experience, relevance, life experience, relevance, industry experience, so on that they have those competence.
On the other hand, the chairman of the Monitoring Committee for Students of DIT, Dr. Ambele Mtafia, says the aim of the workshop is to control the standards of students produced by the institution by monitoring them after they finish their studies.
Is to first go into the database that we have from the admission office, and then we go and trace the students from wherever they are, because we have the email, their email addresses and their phone numbers. And once we have traced them, then we do a preliminary analysis that will tell us those who say they are employed, who are the employers and where they are located. Then we go and locate those particular employers and they start to ask them on their opinion and whatever they see on those products. Finally, we come and disseminate like we have done today, and we discuss with the various stakeholders to see as what this batch has in merit or dismerit.
Renewable energy can be used as an effective way to deal with the challenges of climate change that hamper development in Africa. Speaking to TBC News, Dean Bebe, who is campaign's lead at Power Shift Africa, says that the good use of resources available in Africa is an easy way to make progress on issues of renewable energy and clean energy.
Most important aspect now becomes how do we utilize our strategic position as Africa, right? In terms of we are already housing 60% of renewable energy resources. We're talking about wind, geothermal, solar energy, essentially, to drive the next energy system for the future of Africa, essentially. And that's where we're trying to position ourselves. And we're looking at renewable energy as an opportunity. But the problem obviously now becomes the financing aspect, the money needed to leapfrog towards that new energy system. But we do have an opportunity again, because as Africans, and Tanzania included, we've got what we call transition minerals that we can leverage in order for us to unlock the right financing package that Africa may need to turn into a renewable energy hub through a pan-African industrialization framework that would essentially unlock the developmental pathways that is promised for Africans and by Africans.
On the other hand, the convener at Africa Movement of Movements, Omar El Mawi, says that society has the responsibility to conserve the environment so as to combat the climate change challenges within the African continent.
According to the statistics, it says that only about 4% or under 4% of the historic carbon emissions have actually been coming from Africa. Most of them are coming from the developed world, especially from the global north. So our position as far as climate change is concerned within the continent, first we're saying that there is a debt that is owed to the African people, because at the back of the climate crisis, it means people's lives and livelihoods have been affected. You know, people, nature and climate has been affected. And to many, many ways, it has affected issues like our food sovereignty, where our farmers nowadays are struggling more and more every year in terms of the yield that they are making out of their agricultural products. It's affected many other livelihoods, including fishermen and many, many other nature-based livelihoods, which have significantly been affected.
A hepatitis B survivor and member of the HBV Global Community Advisory Board, Shaibu Issa, has called on the government to increase awareness among the community about the importance of getting the hepatitis B vaccine to reduce death from the disease. He made the remarks during a science communication engagement that was held in Dar es Salaam as a countdown towards the 11th Tanzania Health Summit, which is due to take place in Zanzibar in October. Rehema Sababili has more.
A science communication engagement brought together health stakeholders to communicate the evidence of their community interventions in Tanzania. Speaking during the event, Issa says the problem of hepatitis is serious and the disease does not show symptoms and kills slowly, asking the government to increase awareness about the disease so that people can get the vaccine to reduce infection and death from the disease.
Call is to encourage people to get tested and vaccinated, because one of the benefits we have on these diseases can be prevented by vaccine. It's the first ever disease that is caused cancer to be prevented by vaccine. But people cannot take vaccine for the disease they are not informed with. We need to inform our community so that also to prevent stigma. We talk here about, we call it infodemic. That in society there is healthy misinformation, and misinformation it misleads people. Misinformation it causes stigma. So you may find people living with chronic hepatitis B are stigmatized because most of people who talk about this issue, they don't have reliable information. They don't have accurate information. So they just mislead people, and then people are afraid to get tested and to be vaccinated. So problem become huge and huge.
On his part, the chairman of the Organization for Medical Outreach to the Community, Tumaini Warioba, says the threat of hepatitis is great, stating that the disease is contagious through unprotected sex.
Hepatitis B and C, all the means of transmission that they are taking place through HIV are the same that are happening in hepatitis B and C. So if we are taking precaution in HIV, we should also consider hepatitis. But what is interesting is that is mostly like you can come in contact with the patient with the co-infection of hepatitis and HIV. Specifically, I can take example in sexual intercourse. We are liable to have hepatitis infection 100 times more than HIV.
Hepatitis can be prevented through vaccination, where statistics shows more than 350 million people are living with the disease, and it kills every 30 seconds. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sababili, TBC News.
Now, before we wind up local news, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Stay tuned for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled and read to you by Nyambona Masamba.
International news starts in the United States of America, where President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19. It's forced him to cancel the campaign event in Las Vegas. It is the third time the 81-year-old contracted the virus. Now it comes at a critical time of his re-election campaign. Renewed calls from some Democrats for him to step down. The crowd waited eagerly for the president to address the audience in Las Vegas. Come on, announcement.
I was just on the phone with President Biden, and he shared his deep disappointment at not being able to join us this afternoon. The president has been at many events, as we all know, and he just tested positive for COVID.
Short time later, Biden boarded Air Force One and looted Delaware, where he was self-isolated in his home on an undetermined period of time. Just 24 hours earlier, Biden had appeared while giving a forceful speech to NAACP convention in Las Vegas. From the States to Asia, at least 16 people have been killed in China's southwestern Sichuan province. The blaze broke out at the department store in a 14-store building in the city of Saigon. A primary inquiry blames a construction work and detailed investigation is underway to identify the specific cause. Cities across China, Shanxi province have been rushed by torrential rain, flooding streets and disturbing traffic. Extreme storms have been seen across China this summer. Near 2,000 residents have been evacuated from Baoju City. Authorities have placed several cities on high alert for further disruption, heavy rain and flooding. To North America, severe storm has hit the United States and Canada. Several areas, including upstate New York, have had flash floods and tornadoes. In Canada, flood waters have left many stranded on highways around Toronto. Thousands of people lost power and air conditioning after days of soaring temperatures. And students protesting in Bangladesh are calling for complete shutdown across the country. Violence has broken up between police and students in several locations in Dhaka and the outskirts of capital. At least 17 protesters have been killed and 700 injured in the past week. The students are demanding the interquota for the government jobs. The high school students have also joined the protest. There has been reports of violence in Chattogram, the second largest city in Bangladesh. Public universities and colleges are shut down.
Now, before we wind up the news bulletin, let's take a look at today's weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Good evening and welcome for the weather segment. For the next 20 weather forecast from the Meteorological Authority, my name is Rebecca William. Starting with windy patterns, wind is expected to flow at the speed of 20 km per hour for Lake Nyasa and at the speed of 30 km per hour for Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, as well as for the entire coast. And the state of the sea is expected to be moderate. And then for models are portraying reduction of activities over most parts of the country, with light activities over some parts of northern coast. And for tonight, we expect Tanga, together with Unguja and Pemba islands, to feature a partly cloud condition, light rain showers over a few areas, while for the rest part of the country are expected to feature a partly cloud condition. And cool temperatures are expected, especially for some parts of southwestern Highland, with minimum temperature of 6 at Mbeya region, followed by Njombe with 7 degrees Celsius. And for tomorrow, we expect Tanga, together with Unguja and Pemba islands, feature is partly cloud condition, light rain showers over a few areas, and sun periods. While for the rest part of the country, I expect it to feature is partly cloud condition and sun periods. Let us see the next 4 days forecast from different cities and regions. Dar es Salaam, sun period is expected with lowest minimum temperature of 20. Dodoma, sun period is expected with minimum temperature of 15. Mbeya, sun period is expected with minimum temperature of 6. Mwanza, sun period is expected with minimum temperature of 17. Kilimanjaro, sun period is expected with minimum temperature of 16. Morogoro, sun period is expected with minimum temperature of 16. Arusha, sun period is expected with minimum temperature of 14. From the Meteorological Authority, thank you and have a good night.
And on that note, we're ending our news bulletin for tonight, but don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faitha Ngaga. Good night.
TBC1, ukweli na uhakika.